Standard 9, chapter number 5, fundamental unit of life. Okay, all the students, you know, unit of life is cell. If you make a building, in a building what you require bricks. So brick is a basic unit of a building. Brick makes an building. Fine. If you are making a wall, okay, in the same way for our life, or you can say we all are multicellular organisms. That means we are made up of something called some basic unit is there. Okay, and that is cells. The cells make a tissue. Tissues make organs, and organs make a complete system, which we are. Fine, and we have different systems in us, like respiratory system, excretory system. In respiration, when you speak, there is nose, lungs, they all are organs. They are made up of tissues, and these tissues are made up of cell. So this chapter is all about something called cell, and cell is the basic unit of life. So the very first, the examining a thin slice of cork, Robert Hooke showed that the cork resembled the structure of a honeycomb consisting of many little compartments. Cork is a substance which comes from the bark of a tree, and this was in 1665 when Hooke made this chance observation. Robert Hooke called these boxes cells. So cell is a Latin word for little rooms. It was first brought up by Cell. Okay, cell was brought up by Robert Hooke. Where? When he was observing the cork cells under the microscope. Okay, so this was the very first time that someone had observed that living things appears to consist of separate units, and the use of the word cell to describe this unit is being used till this day in biology, and now we call it that it is made up of cell. Okay, now the question comes, living organisms are made up of, so over here you can see the structure. This is an important structure. The structure is of microscope. Okay, this is microscope. So some of the objects which you cannot see with your naked eyes, so that we can see under the microscope. So microorganisms or some cells which we can't see with naked eyes, but we can see in the microscope. This is the complete structure of microscope. Okay, now over here you keep the slide. This is the slide part where you keep the, this is an activity being taken from onion. When we take onion, no, so in the onion, when we are eating the onion, you can remove some strip from it, you can peel some skin from it, called the epidermis, upper layer. Okay, you can see like polythene type structure you can remove from the ऑनियन के जो पीसीस होते हैं ना, उस पीसीस में से ऊपर से आप रिमूव करोगे तो यू विल गेट सम पील, उसको पील कर सकते हो, जाने जरी जैसा कुछ कागज मिलेगा, दैट इज ऑनियन सेल. उसको जब उसने ऑब्जर्व करते हैं हम माइक्रोस्कोप के अंदर, तो वी सील लाइक दिस स्ट्रक्चर. दिस आर द सेल्स ऑफ एन ऑनियन peel. This compartment like structures are cells, and the dot like black dot is called as its nucleus. So this way, these structures of the living organisms were called as cell. What they are called? Cell. So cell, the structures look similar to each other and they form a big structure like an onion bulb. The cells of the onion peel look same regardless of the size of the onion they come from. That means these are the small structures that are the basic building units of onion bulb. As I said, no, when we make a building, we require bricks. Make a building. In the same way, for an any living organ, there are basic units, and those basic units are cell. Okay, the small structures that we see are called as cells. Okay, so now here I'll read something. Cell were first discovered by Robert Hooke in 1665. What he observed? He observed the cells in a cork slice with a primitive microscope. Another one is Leeuwenhoek, with the improved microscope, discovered free living cells in pond water for the first time. Then another name is Robert Brown in 1831, who discovered the nucleus in the cell, and Purkinje in 1839 coined the term protoplasm. What is this protoplasm? So see, when you observe this cell structure, you can see these are some compartment type structures. In that, one black dot is there. That is nucleus, and other all part which is inside it, like one something is filled in it. यानी कोई ऐसा bulgy part या spongy thing which is filled in it, you can see in the microscope. Then it is called as an protoplasm. Okay, and this word was given by Purkinje. Okay, and the cell theory that all the plants and animals are composed of cell. The cell is the basic unit of life, was presented by two biologists, Sheldon and Schwann. Okay, so remember this name. Who was the first to coin the word? Robert Hooke. Okay, who first found? Robert Hooke. Who first discovered that living cells in the pond water? Leeuwenhoek. Who first discovered the nucleus of the cell? Robert Brown. Who coined the word protoplasm? It was Purkinje. And who were the first to say that the cell is the basic unit of life? And they were Sheldon and Swan. And the cell theory was further expanded by Virchow by suggesting all the cells arise from the pre-existing cells. So we started with this chapter with the first scientist named Robert Hooke, and we are going to study in this chapter about cell. Okay, fine, clear. The invention of the magnifying lens led to the discovery of microscopic world. It's known as the single cell. Okay, now see, there is a cell. The cells, different cells constituents the tissues, or you can say any living organism has a basic unit, like an onion cell we found, onion ka small cell. Okay, onion cells, different cells make an onion bulb. So based on it, the organisms which contain only one cell, if they are made up of only one cell or one unit, they are said to be an unicellular organism, such as amoeba. Amoeba is an unicellular organism. Then Chlamydomonas, Paramoecium, and bacteria. These are called unicellular organism because they are made up of single cell. So initially we studied about scientists who first discovered was Robert Hooke. Then we studied that the cell is a basic unit. Sheldon and Schwann defined it. Then we studied that the organisms which have only one single cell as their cell, okay, and the complete organism is made up of single cell, then they are said to be an unicellular. Examples are Paramoecium, amoeba, Chlamydomonas, okay, and some bacteria. Okay, and if it is made up of many cells, then such organisms are called as multicellular organisms, like some fungi or other are multicellular organisms. Now you can see on the screen there are various cells from the human body. Okay, some organisms like this are it. See, first one is smooth muscle cells. These are blood cells. Okay, this is an nerve cell, structure of a neuron it is. Okay, this is ovum. Okay, okay, this is an ovum. This is an reproductive organs. Okay, this is an gamete, reproductive gamete of female ovum. Okay, this is bone cell, and is a fat cell. Okay, so this way, these are the different structures, various cells. So see, from these structures what we can conclude, the shape and size of the cells are related to specific functions they perform. First thing, some cells like amoeba have changing shape. In some cases, cell shape could be more or less fixed. Each living cell has the capacity to perform certain basic functions that are the characteristics of the living forms. Like as for example, when I speak of a respiratory system, so in respiratory system, what is the function of it? To inhale and exhale. Okay, respiration is a process of taking in oxygen and giving out carbon dioxide. This process is called as respiration. So this is being done by some organs. Nose is there, lungs is there. These are the organs. These organs are made up of cells. So now what is the function of those cells which are of the respiratory organs? It is respiration. So the cell structures may vary, even their functions vary. Barabar? Okay, we know that there is a division of labor in the multicellular organisms, such as in human being. This means that different parts of the human body perform different function. The human body has a heart to pump the blood, stomach to digest food, and in same way there are different cells. So in fact each cell has got certain function according to the cell organelles. Okay, so now I am trying to explain you. Cell is a basic unit, that also it's clear. Types of cell is also clear. Now I am explaining you that every cell has its own function. Okay, it functions, its functions are dependent to its organs. Okay, which organelles it, and every cell organelle performs a special functions and such of the making of the material. So now when we are coming to the cell, we'll understand the structure of the. So up till now we cleared what is cell, then we cleared which scientists discovered it. We also cleared why the cell is called structural and functional unit. Now we are going to the structure of the cell. Okay, so if we study a cell under a microscope, we would come across three features in almost all the cells. Okay, that is they are there. Okay, they are existing. One is plasma membrane, another one is nucleus, and other one is cytoplasm. And all the activities inside the cell and interaction of the cell with its environment are possible due to these three features. Okay, what the three are there? One is plasma membrane, nucleus, and cytoplasm. Okay, so just I would like to show you the structure. Okay, I'll take some structure. Okay, now see, this is one structure which you can see. In the structure, the surrounding part, you can see there is some boundary type structure surrounding. Okay, this boundary type part is said to be an plasma membrane. Inside it, there is a nucleus. You can see it is called nucleolite because it is a prokaryotic cell diagram. Because it doesn't have a well of nucleus. I'll make you understand what is prokaryote. At present, I'm trying to explain you the structure. And there is a nucleus. And all other things other than this nucleus, between this boundary and inside it is called as cytoplasm. Okay, what is it called? Cytoplasm. Okay. So now again I am going what the topic I was teaching you. So very first let us clear the plasma membrane, and another thing is cell membrane. So see, the outermost covering of the cell that separates the content of the cell from its external environment, the plasma membrane. So this is the membrane which maintains the entry and exit of the cell. It prevents the movements of the materials, and their cell membrane therefore is called selective permeable membrane. This is the outermost covering. Okay, the plasma membrane or plasma membrane allows or permits the entry and exit of the some materials. So plasma membrane or cell membrane is therefore called as selectively permeable membrane. Remember, this is an objective question. Okay, fine. Some substances like carbon dioxide and oxygen can move across the cell membrane by a process called diffusion. Another word it has come, diffusion. That means carbon dioxide and oxygen move across the cell membrane, and this process is called diffusion. We have studied diffusion in the previous chapter. We also show that there is a spontaneous movement of substance from one region, that is from high concentration to low concentration. Fine. This is high concentration. If in the cell there is more oxygen, then it will move from high to low. Okay, and if it is less, then from outside it will come inside. This happens from substance like CO2, which is cellular waste and requires to be exited out. It accumulates in high concentration inside the cell. So inside the cell, if there is more CO2 in comparison to outside, then it will diffuse out. Okay, so this way the O2 and CO2 comes into and goes out by the process of diffusion. So, thus, diffusion plays an important role in the gaseous exchange between the cell and its external environment. Okay, okay, and water movement of water also is through law of diffusion. That is, the movement of water molecules such as selectively permeable membrane is called osmosis. एक नया word आया, osmosis. Okay, and osmosis means it is an water movement. Okay, the process of diffusion of the movement of water of the molecules through such a selective permeable membrane. The process is called as osmosis. And osmosis also is through movement of water is through plasma membrane. When the concentration of water in the outside environment is more, the water than the water will enter in the cell. Okay, so that entry or that movement is said to be an endosmosis, and when it moves out from the cell it is called as exit means exosmosis. Okay, and for this over here one experiment is being conducted. That is, what will happen if we put an animal cell or a plant cell into a solution of sugar or salt, eh, or salt in water. Okay, so see, if the medium surrounding the cell has higher water concentration than the cell, the outside solution is very dilute, the cell will gain water. Such solution is called hypotonic solution, and water molecules are free to pass through membrane in direction, but more water will come into the cell than will leave. The net overall result, the water enters the cell. The cell is likely to swell up. This experiment you can do at home. You can take those kismis, they are coming, no? Okay, you put it them in the water for some time. After some time, you will find that the kismis bulges out. Okay, and it swells. So what has happened in kismis? The water level was less in comparison to water in the glass. So what happens? The water gets inside. It happens, no? In some houses your father or your mother might be taking one ayurvedic treatment like oh kali kismis aati hai, fine. ओके, उसको पानी में भिगो के रखते हैं रात को और सुबह को फिर पी जाते हैं वो पानी. तो what happens in it? The water comes inside the cell. Why? Because the concentration of water in the cell is less in comparison to outside. So such type of an solution is said to be an hypotonic. Okay, that means what is it? The concentration is more outside than the cell. If the medium has exactly the same water concentration as the cell, okay, so there will be no movement of the water, and such type of a solution is called isotonic. Okay, clear? Okay, and the cell will remain in the same. And if the medium has a lower concentration of water than the cell, then the cell will lose water by osmosis, and such a solution is called hypertonic solution. So we found three types of a solution. Hypotonic. So what happens in hypotonic? In the outside the cell, water content is high, the concentration is more in comparison to cell. So such type of a solution, hypotonic. If both it is same, isotonic. And if inside the cell is more than outside, it is hypertonic, and that is through diffusion, and the water through by the process, and this process of movement of water is called as osmosis. Okay, so diffusion is an main process, important process of gases and water exchange in the living organisms or in the cells. So plasma membrane is flexible and is made up of organic molecules called lipids and proteins. So plasma membrane is an selective permeable membrane. Okay, the exchange of gases takes place. Okay, the exchange of gases is called as diffusion. Even this diffusion for exchange of water is called as, what is it called? It is called as an osmosis. Then we studied about three types of solutions based on the concentration. Okay, and the next part which we'll study, the last topic, it is that the plasma membrane is made up of lipids and protein. Remember this thing, and it can be only seen through electronic microscope. Okay, and the cell membrane is an also enables the cell to engulf its food, means to take the food from the external environment, and this process is called as